and reconciliation. That's what Jesus is talking about today. Forgiveness, the process by which one changes their attitude or their heart to another person to ease their reaction to something that was done. Reconciliation, the process by which two parties can come together in order for forgiveness to take place. Those are two words that right now are being thrown around all over this country. Forgiveness and reconciliation. And they're not easy things to do. I know that there are times when it's hard to forgive. When somebody has wronged us and we just don't want to forgive. Or maybe worse yet, we offer forgiveness in name only, knowing that deep down inside, the embers of that fire are still burning. And when that happens again, when that incident that we were supposedly had forgiven the person for comes back up, the fire rages worse than the original fire, because that ember was still smoldering within our soul. It had never truly been extinguished. So how, if that fire is potentially burning, do we ever forgive? Jesus says you need to forgive 77 times. Now, I'm sure that there's a reason he used that number, but I'm going to say that in my instance, 77, it's probably because that's how long it takes me to truly put out that ember inside me. It takes 77 times of saying, "You're forgiven," before my words actually burn into my soul. Maybe for you it's 72, or maybe it's 28. I don't know what your number is. Maybe it's 145. If it is, let me know, please. We all have different ways in which we forgive. But what Jesus says this morning is that part of forgiveness is understanding that we can't judge another. Part of the reason that we feel wronged, in order that when we feel wronged, because of we have to forgive, it's because we potentially were judging that person for what they said, did, or acted. It's hard to live a life where we truly forgive. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. We will never forget the reason that we have to forgive, but it won't hold the power. October 6th, 2006, Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania. A milkman delivers milk to an Amish one-room schoolhouse, as he did most days. Except this morning, something was different. On this day, he went into the school armed with guns. He tied the girls up and let the boys go. When it was all said and done, 6 people, 6 children were dead. A bunch more were injured, and the shooter had killed himself. To me, if that was my son or daughter in that school, that might have been an unforgivable offense. Yet, that Amish community that lost their children within 24 hours went to the family home of the man that shot their children and offered forgiveness. And not forgiveness just in words, forgiveness in actions. They took up a collection to help pay for his funeral expenses. His widow was one of the only outsiders allowed at the girls' funerals. Imagine having the widow of the person that killed your child at their funeral. That, brothers and sisters, is forgiveness. These people felt so strongly about the words that Jesus said today in our reading, they lived it out. As I reflect upon their actions, it really showed me that the offenses that I sometimes struggle to forgive people for are minuscule in comparison to that. How many people here have been driving down the road and someone cuts you off and you get a little angry? How many people have been in a grocery store express checkout of 15 items or less and the person in front of you has 27? Sometimes I think those are unforgivable sins. But we're humans. We make mistakes. We are not to judge each other. We have a judge in Jesus Christ. We are to live our lives with the Amish community as role models. To be able to forgive each other for those things that others do to us. But lest we forget, forgiveness isn't only about forgiving the other. It's also about forgiving ourselves. We make mistakes. We are human. We are not perfect. Father Dave and I at lunch the other day were talking about how sometimes there's some people that just really frustrate you and you cannot figure out why. And what Dave said was, maybe it's because what you're seeing in them is really a reflection upon yourself. It's like holding a mirror up and seeing yourself in those people. And learning to forgive yourself for those things. Because we cannot truly forgive other people, reconcile ourselves to our brothers and sisters, until we first reconcile ourselves to ourselves and to God. So allow the Amish community to be a guide, but also allow the words of Jesus this morning to live into your heart. Forgive not 7, but 77 times, or whatever your number is, in order that we may live into a closer relationship with each other and with Christ. Amen.